So we're going to begin our third and final problem, which is f of x equal to negative x squared plus 4. So we're going to begin our problem like we do the other ones, labeling our a. This time our a is negative 1. Our b is 0 because b is our term that has x next to it, and there isn't a term that has x next to it. And then we have c, which is 4. So we have a is 1, b is 0, c is 4. Now, one thing we need to note, because a is negative, that means our parabola is going to open down. So it's going to look like a sad face. All the other ones, a was positive, so it was a happy face. But because a is negative, it is going to be a sad face. So we have our axis of symmetry, which we're just going to substitute everything in like we previously been doing. So I have a negative 0 times 2 times negative 1. Of course, we can't have negative 0, so it's just going to be 0 over negative 2, which ends up just being 0. So that is our axis of symmetry. And I like to graph as I go, so we're going to scroll on down, and we're going to draw our x and our y axis so that we can plot our axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is 0, so that means that it is going to go on the y-axis. Okay, that's about as good of a straight line as I can make. All right, from there, we have our vertex that we need to find. So I need to take the 0 and substitute it into this function up here. So I have negative 0 squared plus 4. But again, like I previously said, we can't have negative 0, so we end up with 0 plus 4. And then we end up with just 4. So we have f of 0 equals 4. So our order pair is 0, comma 4. So that is our vertex. So we can go ahead and go down here and plot it and finish off our graph. So we had 0, 4 over 0 starting at the origin, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to follow our 1A, 3A, 5A rule to finish graphing. So I'm starting here. And remember, like I said, our graph is going to go down. It's going to be a sad face. So we need to make sure instead of going up, we're going to go down. So we're going to go to the right one still, and then we're going to go down 1. Then we're going to go to the right 1, and then we're going to go down 3. Then we can actually, with this one, we have enough space to do our 5. So we're going to go to the right 1 and go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plotting our point down here. And then these are all going to be reflected on the other side because our parabola is symmetric. So we're just going to reflect our points on the opposite side. And let's see if we can make this parabola look halfway decent. Parabola. Oh, geez. Let me erase that. Okay. Let's try that again. This is my point. Parabola. Yeah. Hopefully your parabola looks much better than mine. And then we're going to do our table. So completing our table, we're going to put our vertex in the middle. So our vertex was 0, 4. So we're going to count backwards from 0. So it'd be negative 1, negative 2. And we're going to count forward, which would be 1 and 2. So we can look at our points. Over 1, up 1, 2, 3. That's this point. And then this one is over 2 and up 0. So that's this point. And then we can also reflect our points in our graph. And we can check it from here because this is negative 1, 3, negative 2, 0. So it all checks out. It all works. So now we're going to go and write our equation in vertex form. So in vertex form, we need our A and we need H and we need K. So H in this case is 0. K in this case is 4. So we have f of x equals, we know our a was -1, so this time we're going to put -1. Then we have x minus 0, so we really don't need to put that. And it's going to be squared, and then plus k, our k is 4. So we have x equals -1 times x squared plus 4. That's our vertex form. And then in order to do our factored form, we need to find our roots or zeros, or we can also call them x-intercepts. And x-intercepts are where the graph crosses the x-axis. So it crosses the x-axis at -2 and at +2. So we have x equals -2, comma, +2. Those are roots, our zeros, our x-intercepts. That's where our graph crosses the x-axis. So we put it in factor form. Our factored form actually uses our roots and zeros. So a is -1. It's the same a from before. We have x. And don't forget, if we have minus negative, then we don't need to put the minus negative. We can just make it plus. So it'll be +2. And then x minus 2. So that's our factor form. Last but not least, we have our domain and range. Our domain is all real numbers for every parabola. It's all real numbers. Our range, however, we need to look at our vertex. So this is at 4. So, and it's less than 4 because it starts at 4 and it goes down. So everything is below 4. So y is less than or equal to 4. That's our domain and range. Don't forget to submit your questions that you have about anything that we've gone over, and it will be on, we'll be able to go over them in class tomorrow.